Good morning, Standard 4. I hope you're understanding my lessons that I'm teaching you. Today I've come up with lesson number 3 found on page number 31, the most important day. This lesson is about a person called Helen Keller. Now Helen Keller is a very good writer who lost her eyesight and her hearing ability when she was only 1.5 years old. But then even though Helen could not see or could not hear, still she took up life as a challenge, faced it as a challenge, and came out successfully. How many of us have decided to challenge and face life? All of us have got problems. Some of us cannot remember what we have studied. Some of us cannot read. But how many of us have decided that I will struggle hard and I will work hard so that I will overcome my disability? This lesson is going to prove to you or going to push you ahead in such a way that you will struggle hard and try to overcome your weaknesses. So let me begin. It was the summer of 1880. A healthy baby girl was born in a small town in Alabama. So they are saying it was in the year 1880. One small baby girl was born, and she was born in America in a place called Alabama. It's the name of a place, Alabama. Her parents loved her dearly and named her Helen. So they're telling us that Helen's mom and dad loved Helen, this baby girl, very much. But one day, the baby became ill, and day after day, her fever stayed high. So this little baby girl, who was so pretty and healthy when she was born, suddenly got fever. And when she got fever, they are saying the fever never went down. It stayed at the same level, and she was having high fever. Everyone in the family tried to help her to get better, but all they could say was, "There is nothing more we can do, the baby may not live." So, number of people, even the family members, they tried their best to solve the problem. What problem? The fever of Helen. They tried to do something so that the fever of this little baby girl will come down. But then everybody ended saying, this baby girl will not live. Helen lived, but she was not the same after her illness. But then they said, so many people said that she would not live, but then the fever came down and Helen survived the fever. But then they are telling us Helen was not the same after her illness. Let's see, they're saying she was not the same. So let's see what happened to her after she got the fever. Something is very wrong, her mother said. At last they found out what was wrong. The child could not see or hear. After the child got high fever, the mother realized that something different about the child. Maybe the child may have not reacted, or the baby was just simply sleeping like without any movements. So the mother said, I think something is wrong with this child. And later on they realized that this baby could not see and could not hear. It had been born beautifully, it had been born with ears, the baby had ears, the baby could see, but after the fever, the baby could not hear and could not see. The baby grew into a little girl. The baby grew up to be a beautiful girl. Her parents felt sorry for her. Helen often cried and held on to her mother. Maybe you should give the poor child what she wants, her father would say. This Helen would always look at her parents, and her parents would always look at Helen and feel so sad for her. Very often, all the time, you would find Helen would be crying. She would catch her mother, held on to her mother's, hold her mother, and start crying. And that papa, what he used to say is, I think you give her whatever she wants. Maybe she will be quiet. Give her whatever she wants, then she will stop crying. Though Helen could not hear or see, she was a bright little girl. So they are telling us that this Helen could not hear or see, but then they are telling us she was bright. Bright in the sense she was very intelligent. Some people thought Helen could not learn anything. Why don't you just send her away somewhere? They said. Some people were so bad that they came and told the mom and dad, see, she's useless, she cannot see, she cannot hear. Why don't you send her off somewhere else? Somewhere. Somewhere means it can be an orphanage or somewhere, just let her be somewhere where somebody else would take care of her without her parents. Her mother did not agree. The mummy loved her so much. The mother said, no, I love my baby. I love Helen very much. I am not going to send her anywhere. Thanks, but Helen is very smart, she said, and added, the problem is, how can we reach her? She is locked up inside herself. So the mother said, I am not going to send her anywhere. I know that Helen is a very smart girl and she's a very intelligent girl. Only thing, we have to find out how we can take out that intelligence from her, how we can reach that intelligence which is inside her. Helen began to grow wild. She could not let anyone comb her hair. Helen began to grow wild means she used to get very angry. She was very stubborn. Have you seen children who are stubborn? They kick their legs, they fall on the ground, they scream aloud. So like that, they're saying Helen too was like that. She got irritated about things. She would not let anybody touch her, even to comb her hair. Her clothes were always dirty. Her clothes used to be very dirty. Because I think she used to even roll on the ground when she was angry, so her clothes used to be dirty. She was often angry. Every time she would get angry. Sometimes she even lay on the floor and kicked her feet. So you understood. She used to sleep on the ground and kick her feet. I think you must have seen children who become stubborn and get angry. The best thing they do is they sleep on the ground and kick their feet and scream aloud. The same thing Helen used to do. Her parents thought that they should find a teacher for her. Then the parents thought, we have to find one teacher who could teach her things like teaching her manners and many other things. Miss Sullivan, a young teacher, agreed to help Helen to learn to see the world. Miss Sullivan gave Helen a doll. So what happened was, they called for a teacher, and at last one young lady, they're telling her name was Miss Sullivan. Sullivan, they said, decided that I will teach Helen. She agreed, I will teach Helen and I will teach her how to see the world even without hearing or seeing. Miss Sullivan gave Helen a doll. The first thing Miss Sullivan did was she brought one doll and she gave it to Helen. D-O-L-L spells doll. Miss Sullivan spelled the word with her fingers into Helen's hand. So this Miss Sullivan, what she did was, she held Helen's hand and she kept on spelling D-O-L-L, doll. She made her touch the doll and say D-O-L-L, doll. She made Helen to learn the spelling of doll. She made the letters with special hand signs. So she said she made some kind of signs so that Helen could understand the D, O, L and L. She could understand. Helen copied her teacher and spelled D-O-L-L too, but she did not understand what she was doing. She did not know that she was spelling a word or even that words existed. So then they're saying Miss Sullivan tried to teach her. She followed the teacher, but then she did not know that there were things called words, there were things called spellings. She did not know because she could not hear, she could not see. So she did not know what the teacher is trying to tell her. Helen liked Miss Sullivan. So Helen slowly started liking Miss Sullivan. She was strict but kind. Miss Sullivan was strict also and kind. How do you show that Miss Sullivan was strict and kind? They tell us about one day what happened was, Helen was sitting at the dining table and was about to have food. She got so angry that she threw the food from the table. After Miss Sullivan saw what Helen did, she decided that I will take this Helen separately and teach her some manners. Then this teacher told the mummy and daddy, see, I'll take her to a separate room, nobody should come inside. Then she took Helen to a separate room and she gave the food to Helen. And every time Helen went to hit the food, Miss Sullivan used to pull the plate. Sometimes she didn't give her food. Then slowly you'll find that Helen decided that I would listen to Miss Sullivan. So Miss Sullivan was strict, but she was also sweet and kind to Helen. In the days that followed, Helen learned to spell. In this way, a great many words among them were pin, hat, cup, and a few verbs like sit, stand, and walk. So, very slowly, once Helen started liking her teacher started teaching her words. So many words she learnt. She learnt words like pin, hat, cup, then some words like sit, stand, and walk. But her teacher had been with her several weeks before she understood that everything had a name. So the teacher stayed with her and made her understand that everything has a name. Every item that you see, whatever you see around you, has a name. One day her teacher made Helen put her hand into running water. So one day what happened? Her teacher was took her out. She opened the tap, and as the water was flowing down, she made Helen touch the water. She made her feel the water with her own hands. Then she spelt Water. After that, the teacher took the water, made Helen touch the water, and told Helen, this is called water, it is spelled as Water. Suddenly, Helen understood that water meant something wet. From that time, when she touched the water, she realized that, oh, water means something which is wet, running over her hand. So, she realized that if I touch that thing and that thing is wet and it is flowing out of my hand, then that thing is called as water. She understood that words were the most important things in the world. From that day, she realized, if I learn words, I can learn many things. She realized that it is important to be in the world. If you know words, that is the most important thing to exist in the world. Words would tell her everything she wanted to know. Then she even realized that if I knew the words, I can come to know many things that are around me. Helen learned 30 words that day. From that day onwards, she started learning so fast. And then they said she learned 30 words in one day. Mother, father, sister, teacher were among them. Words that were to make the world blossom for her. From that day onwards, she started learning so well. And all these words made her life so happy. They said blossom for her made her life really fruitful. She was happy with life. It would have been difficult to find a happier child than Helen as she lay in her bed at the close of that eventful day. She thought about the joys it had brought her and for the first time longed for a new day to come. So that day she learned such beautiful words. She was so happy. Just imagine they are saying if she was left on the bed just to lay down on the bed and sleep, it would have been such a miserable day for her. But then now after she learnt words, she always waited for another day to come where she can learn more and more words. By the end of August, in six short months, Helen knew 625 words. So they were saying in 6 months, with the help of the teacher, she learnt around 625 words. By the time she was 16, Helen could speak well enough to go to college. This is so nice. If you listen, they are saying when she reached 16 years, she could speak so nicely that she could go directly to college, to study in college. Just imagine a child who could not spell, who could not see things, who could not hear things. Now she has decided to go to college. Helen Keller, the little girl, became one of history's most famous women. After that, they're saying Helen Keller went to college, she passed her examinations, she became so famous. She traveled around the world speaking in more than 25 countries in 5 major continents. So they're saying She went to all the continents. She went to all the continents. So continents, when you say, it can be North America, South America, Australia, Africa, Europe, Asia. She went to all these continents, and in that 25 countries, she spoke about her life and how she came up in life. Wherever she went, she brought new courage to millions of people. Wherever she went, she's saying she spoke so well that children who were handicapped, when you say handicapped, those who do not have eyesight or do not have proper hands or proper legs, so you have physical handicap and mental handicap. For all those children, Helen Keller was like a uh, gift for them, because she encouraged them that if she could do it, even they could do it. People were so happy to see her, and it was an encouragement for those who could not do anything to fight and take those things, those disabilities as a challenge, and to lead life. I want you to learn a lesson from this Helen Keller. That Helen Keller did not have eyes, did not have ears, but still she did so well. You as children have everything. You are so healthy. You are so strong. You can see things, you can hear things, you can understand things. Don't ever give up. You are intelligent. You can do things if you take up whatever if you take it up as a challenge. If that weakness is taken up as a challenge, anything in any way you will succeed.